We were only together for like 3 months before I left.
We weren't prepared that she was going to go work overseas and we're going to have to long distance sex, you know.
I just met this amazing guy. Now, how am I going to keep in touch? There were people who would like try to discourage me. Oh, but long distance. Don't you think he's like got someone there? You know, Asian guys are small down there.
Yeah. Now, in the Asian countries, ironically, even though like I'm South African, it's easy for them to like even mistake of like, oh, he's probably one of like the locals.
I am Sia and I'm 33, turning 34.
On Sunday. I'm Russell and I'm 35.
I'm from a small town called Berlin. A lot of people don't know it. It's not Germany. It's right here in the Eastern Cape. I am the last born with 2 sisters and 1 big brother. So I grew up very spoiled, very loved by my mom, my dad. But sadly, my dad passed away 2 days before I turned 8, which is today's date. So it's always like a reminder every year, but it gets better. So it's another thing where it's like, I wish my dad would have been here to meet Russell.
I'm from P, or now it's called Abeja.
I never told him how to say that.
Yeah, she told me how to do the click, okay? I practice. I'm the eldest of 2 brothers, I would say, basically. I've got 1 younger brother. Really chill, down-to-earth family. Both my parents just owned a normal grocery store. And we were raised on good manners, humility, and always putting others first.
We live in a time where it's easier to meet someone online because it's like all the information is there and you don't have to go up to someone in a grocery store. I mean, that's from the movies. You don't have to go there and say, hi, what's your name? What's your favorite color? We don't have time for that. You just want to get straight to the point and know who this person is. So I have a friend who used Bumble before to meet their current husband now. And I was like, okay, let me try Bumble. And I think within a few hours we matched. We answered a question and then the conversation just flowed from there and we just couldn't stop talking. But what impressed me was that he sends long paragraphs and I love a person who can communicate.
So I was on the online dating scene for a little bit longer than Sia was, probably like about 6 months at time. And I think one thing we both had in common interest, especially for me, was like I was looking for quality. I remember one of the topics we spoke about was like, is the Loch Ness Monster true?
Yeah, was it Bigfoot, I think?
Or Bigfoot. And we went back and forth, like just entertaining ideas or thoughts. She was like really pretty in the photos, but like her personality and like just her thinking on like topics is also what attracted me to her. Because like, oh, I can have a conversation with this person.
It was actually, do you think Bigfoot is real? And then we got into this whole conversation where we were talking about conspiracy theories. And then we were like, I don't think Tupac is really dead. So I think that's us. We are so random and we just love to talk with each other. Like, for example, we can drive for hours and the time just flies because we're just talking about everything.
I think it was also like the depth of like the conversations we had. So I think that's a big thing as well compared to like when we both tried online dating before. Was like a lot of people's answers that we matched with previously, or when we were trying to date even normally before, it was like very short, you know? And it's like, there's nothing they give you to like carry the conversations on. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I don't know what else to say now. With a lot of our conversations, it was always like continuous. And then we would have to like stop because we most likely had work we needed to get to, or it was like late at night. So that was another thing. And I think in terms of prompts, what we found immediately was like we shared a lot of like the same values. So we started expressing early on like family is really important. And we ironically also asked like, how was your childhood?
To find out about his childhood, I just wanted to see what were you exposed to? How did you grow up? Like, did you have a silver spoon? Did you someone who grew up struggling? Because also that shows character. And he did come from humble beginnings. Like his mom is amazing from what he's told me. And he literally built himself from the ground up. He has his own firm. He didn't get any help of some sort. So knowing about his childhood helped me to learn about who he is.
A lot of your childhood, whether it's good memories or trauma, shapes the person you are today, but it also shapes the way you perceive the world, the way you perceive life and happiness. So having that, it's so interesting when you ask people those type of questions and you get to see like how they see life and also like what made them that they are today, you know. I think we also asked about each other's childhood because it was more open questions to try and see if like, how do we get close in a relationship and how do I get to like know you better than just kind of like assuming, oh, you're this pretty girl and all that, when there's so much more depth to it. And that would also allow me to like communicate with her better as well.
We were on Bumble, like in the text, and we're like, okay, listen, he was the one who was like, let's take this off the apps. And then he took me to his Instagram. I think he was just trying to flex, trying to get me to see them outside of the apps. And then we moved to WhatsApp on that same day. But then unfortunately, the next day I got robbed at gunpoint. My phone was gone and I was freaking out. I was like, no, like I didn't worry about the phone. I was like, no, like I just met this amazing guy. Now, how am I going to keep in touch?
I was still thinking, okay, 2 or 3 days, nothing from her. Maybe she's busy. And then the fourth or fifth, there's like, is this the part where people say they play hard to get? Oh, she's the independent woman. I don't want to come across as like needy, so I'll wait. I'll wait a few days and just see. Maybe she's busy. Aww. Maybe it's a test. I don't know. And then, but like part of me was like, I wonder if she's okay or if like everything okay or I even said to myself, and I was telling my brothers like, okay, if Sia doesn't message me in like 4 days, I'm going to rather just like message her because now it feels weird not hearing from her. And I think that was like, at first I messaged her on WhatsApp and it didn't even like get a double tick or blue tick. So I was like, okay, maybe she's busy or something's happening at work.
And then luckily my laptop was still logged in on Instagram. So I was like, hey, you want to guess what happened?
Finally going to meet now. And then I think back then my brother was still joking. He was like, dude, like, because we both like enjoy the gym. It's like, dude, just text Jim if it's a catfish or if it's like dodgy or if you need someone to rescue, just Jim is the safe word. If you rock up there, it's just not real. But I was, PlayStation was real and it was like so nice to like meet her in person in general.
I've got hearing problems, I'm partially deaf. And I was like, okay, listen, if we meet at a restaurant, it's going to be too loud. And what if I turn him off? I was like, let's meet somewhere else. Let me cook for you. So I cooked for him. I made some Korean fried chicken. What else did I make? I made like a bunch of stuff. I was a mess. Look, I was just sweating from the cooking and everything. And then I saw his car parked over there. I was like, okay, breathe. Here he is. Opened the door. And there was this guy over there with his nice shiny lips. Oh, no. I was like, okay, you know what? This is my future husband, but I'm going to try and act cool right now because I don't want to be too forward. So I tried to act chilled, but deep down, my heart was going... I couldn't even speak. I was stuttering, I think, and I was like, I'm making myself a fool in front of this guy. I don't know. But eventually, like, we just relaxed. We hugged.
Yeah.
Kissed.
We kissed. We kissed on the first day.
Yeah. And then we just talked the whole time. We just caught up.
Yeah.
And we clicked.
I think also what impressed me was like, and guys won't say this, but like, honestly, it means a lot to us. Like, she cooked for it, like a feast. It wasn't like one small dish. It was like 3 or 4 dishes. Like, it was like fried chicken with like sides and everything. And I was like, damn. I just rocked up there without anything. I was not even with flowers. I was like, damn, you cooked for me, you know?
Yes, he's bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
So, he has to eat like a good protein-filled diet. And I was like, I'm not going to make junk, but fried chicken just so it's nice and seasoned and also salads and everything.
I was taken aback or surprised, but in a good way, because up until then, remember, I'd never seen her in person. And the only photos I had seen were her old photos. And like the day in there,
Yeah.
and like even on the Instagram, it was like the old photos. And then when we met, it was like, this nice, like, petite. I was like, wow. And it was like, oh, she's so like, I was like, so cute and pretty. And then like, yeah, I think I was just really like in awe on it because like it was even better in person. But like what attracted me to like when I swiped on her was like the smile basically. I didn't even look at like the rest of her physical features. I remember I still told her, like literally when I saw a smile read about, I was like, I swiped right immediately. And it's like, oh, she's so cute and pretty, man.
What drew me to Russell is that he's an honest person. He's very transparent because I'm not a mind reader. So someone doesn't tell me exactly what they think or what they feel, I can't guess that. And so he's the kind of person who just tells me, this is what I expect, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And he was upfront as well. He was saying, listen, I know we're just starting out dating, but I'm not dating to play. I'm dating to find a partner, whether if it's a life partner to experience life with or if it's for marriage. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for too. I want someone who's honest with me and tell me what the intentions are. So that's what drew me to him because I knew he's not a time waster. And to someone who knows what he wants. So that was very attractive to me.
I've always been respectful of each other's or other people's time. So I was like, no, I'd rather get like, let's like talk about like what is our angle or future or intention here of dating, because not only for like my sake, but I find it so rude and disrespectful if I'm here to like waste your time, basically. So if this is like something really genuine, then is it something that we are both going to pursue? And if we are on the same page as well, I think it was also important because we weren't prepared that she was going to go work overseas and we're going to have the long distance sex, Before we started dating or even like meeting, she had applied also for her to like grow as a person. She had applied to go and teach English overseas in specifically like Indonesia. And also she was using it also as a good opportunity because she's an architect by trade and profession. So she loves buildings, and like the designs and all that. She was also using it as an opportunity of like, okay, I'm going to go teach English, but at the same time, I can enjoy the Indonesian architecture just for my own insight and also my own growth and learning and appreciation. So when she told me that, she initially wanted to give it up when we started dating. She was like, I just met you, I want to like give it up. I was like, hell no. I was like, that was also actually one of the conversations we had, was that we both want each other to grow. And I said, I would never, like, similar to me, I would never expect you to sacrifice your dreams and your goals just for me, because I think that's like really selfish, to kind of just make me happy and then you're miserable, or you might be fine for now, but then later on you'll be resentful, basically. So I said, okay, this is obviously a new dynamic. It was the first time I had long distance with someone, and I never really dated much in the past. So I was like, okay, you know what? You're really important to me. I really want to like try and make this work. So I'm willing to put in the effort. So I asked her like how long she's going for. She was gone away for a year, basically. Yeah,
Tentative.
a lot of time. And it turned into 2 at a later stage because she went to Japan the following year.
He reassured me a lot of times that, listen, you're not doing this alone. You've got this. We've got this. And we have a plan. And he always made sure to tell me that someday we're going to be in the same place. So this time apart, let's use that to get to know each other more, because we were only together for like 3 months before I left for overseas. So we used that 2 years to get to know each other back and front. And we got to know each other's insecurities, fears, dreams. So I feel like I've been with him for 10 years. That's what it feels like. Because it wasn't a superficial relationship where we were like, okay, we're just going to have fun. We're in the honeymoon phase. We just went straight in deep diving into getting to know each other, like the real ugly and bad side. So he got to see a lot of sides of me because I'm an overthinker, especially with the distance. And I didn't realize it, him as well. Like he had a few thoughts, and there were people who would like try to discourage me. Oh, but see, long distance, don't you think he's like got someone there? I'm like, no, I know my man. He's not that type. And then I'll be thinking maybe people are saying things to him, but he's also not the type to care what anyone thinks. So as long as we focused on each other, that's what mattered. So it was hard, but it was easy at the same time because he made it so worth it.
We went on a lot of days, spent a lot of time. I think in those 5 months, we had a lot of deep, honest conversations. That helped a lot. Kind of, I think in a sense, believe it or not, like the long distance or the notion of her being long distance, it helped us have all the tough or difficult conversations that couples would generally only have 1 to 2 years later into their relationship. And it also made us like appreciate the time that we had with each other and not take it for granted. And we worked together, we made a plan. So like we did simple things like I'm an early riser, so I would always go to the gym in the morning. So I would make a notion of like, okay, I'm going to send you a video message at like 5 o'clock before I go to the gym just to say like good morning. And she's already like around midday there, but like that's a good like way to keep in contact with her and like good way to like start a day. And then in the evening around 4 p.m. I'll send her a good night message basically when I'm like finishing up at work and then heading back to the gym. And then we would just keep in contact like that, but also give each other like insight like, oh, this is what I'm doing this week. If there's anything good that happens at work in either of our lives, we'll share that or something fun. And then we would set, recurrently, we would always set it that we'll have either Microsoft Teams or Zoom calls on a Sunday, which are for like 3 or 4 hours, to like catch up, talk about what's happening in the week. And that would be our way of like communicating and staying in contact. I think also we were very open about our communication. Yeah. And then what I used to do is like I would save up and then go see her in like November and December. So like in Indonesia, like I was able to save up luckily to a certain degree, like our rand's fairly strong against their currency. So I was able to spend 40 days there, and I can work my firm, I can work remotely. So I can work from there. But it would be nice to like go and see her, and then we fly back. And then we did the same the following year when like, yeah, it was her dream when she also got that opportunity. And I was like, okay, like it's also my travel list. And also we had the conversation of like, how long was this going to go on for? So
Yeah, but
this was like also the last time. It wasn't like something that, I think just for context, it wasn't like, oh, this is how we're going to end up dating for the next 5 years or 10 years, because eventually you want some form of stability. So we had a talk about like, okay, but are you generally happy there? And that's the question she asked. And she says she wasn't, because I can get quite lonely. And even when I was there, I can express whether it was Indonesia or Japan. Firstly, two things. It's like, oh, no one beats our food. Our food is like so good, yeah? That's the taste and the seasoning. People know how to season or cook the food, yeah? That was the big thing. And like, we joke about it, but like one thing I did notice there was like people aren't as friendly as they are in South Africa. And like there's none of that friendly vibe. It's like a lot of people, especially in Japan, just stick to themselves.
yeah.
They don't have conversation, so it can get very lonely. So those were like the two things that was also like making her homesick. But like at the end of the day, like that was the main question also. It's like, are you happy there? Because I was willing to wait another year if she wanted to do it.
To be honest, there's no place like South Africa. Like I was not happy. Like, I had a great job. I was surrounded by amazing people, but I was just not happy. I was like, I've left my man back there. My family's there. I'm very family oriented. I couldn't see my nieces and my nephews, my siblings. And I was like, I want to go home. When you're born and bred in South Africa, you're just so used to the warmth, the community, the people, the food, the spices. I'm glad I made the decision to come back, because it's also helped me now to settle down and plan my own future as well, like in terms of career. When we were in Asia, Indonesia and Japan, because it's very weird there, interracial relationships in South Africa, it's not that common, but it is. But when you're outside, like in Asia, that's when it would be very weird, because the looks sometimes would be like dirty looks, like...
Now, in the Asian countries, ironically, even though like I'm South African, it's easy for them to like even mistake of like, oh, he's probably one of like the locals. So in Indonesia, I got mistaken for being Indonesian, and then same thing in Malaysia, and then in Japan, they also thought I was Japanese, but they would give her the looks of like, and the looks to me of like, oh, he's a traitor. Good, betrayed us. We went and dated out.
Because I remember we were where were we? We went to Osaka. We're just sightseeing, and then there was like an old man. He just looked at us and he started shouting. We're like, hi, and then I just look at him. And shame, the other people in Japan, like the younger guys, they just looked at us like,
It's should, yeah.
all right, okay, we don't know what he said, but we don't care. Let's just keep it moving. But then overall, like, there's nothing, the only time it does show, it's when like we get those stares. Even like concert people, sometimes they look at us like, they look at him.
I got the best.
But we don't care. We don't care. Life is short. Love who you want to love, Yeah.
Yeah, I think we haven't really had any like negative experiences. I think we find that especially when like we came out public relationship, we got so much support and love. Because I said it's so wholesome and nice to see, and I think we get more appreciation even in like public from like people, because like, oh, it's a Malaysian couple type of thing, Not to mention like we always say we look good together, but like we don't just say it. But like, I mean, I think it's majority like, especially in South Africa where we have so many diverse cultures and ethnicities, it's like it's more welcome and warm.
Yeah.
And I think it's more wholesome. Yeah, a lot of the wholesome reactions we get. Yeah.
More than anything for us, it's because our families are so accepting of our relationship.
Yeah.
So we don't care what outside people say. Like, yeah, his family is welcoming me with open arms. My family is obsessed with him. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one time we were posted on TikTok by an interracial page. The comments were just so dark, eh? And
Basic bodyguard.
got a funny hair. What do you call you?
Basic bodyguard.
Bodyguard from Beijing. And then someone made a comment saying, Asian guys are small down there.
Yeah. And then they were like, even some of the comments were like, some of the guys were saying, oh, be careful, closer woman, because they're dangerous, like they are vampires, stuff like that.
They're vampires, they're the money lovers, happy friend. Yeah, and then a lot of people are just calling me a sellout, saying, of course, it's a closer girl. It's always the closer people who do all that stuff. We don't care. Just say we don't know you. Yeah. So it's mostly like people who don't know, like on social media would say something weird. But besides that, there's like 10 times more love. I remember somebody commenting on our picture to me directly on WhatsApp and saying, oh, when you have kids, they're going to think you're the nanny. And then another one, so your kids are going to be 10. I'm like, duh, black. Of course they're going to be 10.
Most people would generally perceive Asian guys like this thin, like nerdy type of like lanky type of Asian dude with like glasses or nerdy type, where there's like so many different types of like Asian guys out there. And I generally come across pretty, I'm not afraid to say it, but like a coconut, like whitewash mixing. Like I have people that I talk to over the phone that are like, oh, so you, and when they meet me, they're like, oh, so you Asian? Like I thought you were white over the phone. So I think it's just generally people's perceptions or stereotypes. But other than that, yeah, we haven't really I had like really like bad or weird comments. I think it's more online, which is normal because like people comment online, like they feel like when it's behind people, there's like nothing that can be done to them or anything like that,
So when my mom met Russell, like she was a bit timid because she wasn't sure, is he a good person? But over time, she got to know him. Now, when he's at my house, suddenly it's her son. I don't get any attention. My mom loves him. Yeah, she loves him. Like she got to see his heart. So she's at peace. Yeah. She's actually praying for our relationship, I would say.
It was very important to me because especially in my culture as well, my family, it's like you need to get like the blessing and permission for like their family to like date her. And now I know this was another like cultural difference. She told me like in the Xhosa and African cultures, you only bring the guy home if it's like for marriage, right? In our culture, it was, especially my parents, from a respect point of view, my parents were like, if you're going to date someone seriously, you need to go see their parents and you need to ask for permission to not date, but like to like court her. So I remember we eventually arranged to like meet her family. And there was the one time when her mom had driven down to like PE to like see her sister and all that. And yeah, it was so nice to like meet her. And like we had prepped for it as well. And then I actually like, I wrote a letter for her that like to share like with you, and I was like, I just would like to ask her for like a permission to like court her daughter. And like I gave her assurance and letter of like, I would like to court your daughter with the intent to like marry her in the future.
But I was telling him that, oh, we do lobola and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. So I think he was planning in his mind at that time. Yeah. And then only to find out 6 months within our relationship, he started saving for lobola. You're like, because we were talking about like, what do you do in your culture? So in China, you give gold or stuff like that.
Yeah, so we actually, like Stone's Chinese people, we actually have something similar. It's just called a dowry. So it's a different term. And like, it can get quite hectic or intense where like, generally like, the groom would buy like gold for the whole bride's like family and all that, and basically the groom covers everything in most of the costs. So yeah, that's like Stone's Chinese. Like most of my family don't do it, but like that's what like lobola wasn't like so new to me. Also because like in terms of my kind of like work or field, like I've advised clients of African descent to like save for things like that as well. And she still said to me, oh, but because you're not Xhosa, because they don't have expectation for you lobola. And said like, no, I'm going to pay you lobola because if I had to go home, my parents would beat my ass for not paying lobola. So they'd be like, we raised you better out of respect. So like, you're going to respect her traditions and her cultural norms. So yeah, like 6 months in, I told her like completely, like I started investing and saving for lobola. Nothing I do, I think also probably because of my work or my profession, but like, yeah, so I opened an investment account and I started saving for lobola, and then like still to this day I can say like I can confidently say I've got most of it pretty much covered. But then like I've also like, because so my job, I'm a certified financial planner. I manage people's money, right? But so that they can live their best lives, without any worrying, with peace of mind. So because I've helped a lot of clients, I know that it's more than just the lobola. There's the wedding, the honeymoon, there comes the house, the kids. So I said to like, even if I meet the lobola, like I've saved your lobola already, I'm going to add an active debit order because like there's going to be other things that come after it. So like, why not like invest now and then I don't have to worry about the financing when it comes to those points in my life,
It's a man year.
Yeah. Because the worst thing that can happen is like, okay, if we don't work out, I've saved like or invested like a pot of cash basically. I can just change the goal of what I'm investing for. Yeah.
Chinese culture, I love the whole concept of food sharing. I'm a foodie, he knows it. Eating together, the whole value of that. That's one biggest thing I really love about the Chinese culture. There's a whole big value placed on the family name. Just like us Xhosas, it's like whatever you do outside, do not taint your family name. Think about your mom, your dad, your grandparents before you do anything in public. So also that's what I love about him as well. Like he's so respectful. He really values family, who he is. Like when you look at him, he's representing his family. Yes, that's something I really love about the Chinese culture. What could I say I like the least? It would probably have to be the pressure put on the firstborn son. He's the firstborn, and before we dated, I was actually scared to meet his family because I was like, what if I'm not good enough, or I'm not the image that they're expecting for him as the firstborn, because he has to carry the family name and all of that other stuff. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I mean, it's expected, but I was scared for him. Like, what if there's so much pressure on his shoulders to impress everybody? But he's his own person. He's very respectful, but it's like, I'm going to love who I want to love. I'm going to do things the way that I want to do them. But also because he has a good head on his shoulders. So that's a plus for him.
I never really liked the whole notion of how the woman was always serve the guy, right? And also, again, with all due respect, I think also I don't want to speak out of context, but especially as I started to learn more about the Bola concept as well, how she used to share, and obviously not all Xhosa guys, but how generally there also used to be the perception of like, the bad side of like where like some guys that paid lobola for a woman, then they feel that they own the woman basically. And then they use a notion of like, I paid lobola for you, so now you serve and, you must live in a sense, right? And I found, even though I know in some aspect that's like part of the cultural tradition, I found it actually like it wasn't comfortable, so with me. Because the way, firstly, on the lobola thing that I always perceived it as was that it's more of you proving as a man if you are capable enough to take care of the woman. And the way I see it, it's similar to like how we see the dowry, is that her family has been sheltering and taking care of her since she was small, all up until her adult life now. And now you're asking for a hand in marriage, and they are now have to trust, or they have to be open to trusting that care and that reigns to you now to take care of their daughter. That they're not going to be able to shelter her any further. So you paying lobola is showing that you are capable enough to take care of her, and that they can feel at ease that she will be in good hands, if not better, with you versus with them. And that's how I saw it. Secondly, I think like leading to the traditional culture thing, I was never comfortable, and I know she was like open to doing that early in a relationship, but I was never comfortable with her kind of like serving or sacrificing for me, even though she said like, no, it's part of a culture and it's like they're doing it out of love. And I would use an example where I said to her, like, I went to like a friend's get together, but they were all Xhosa guys, and it was like a braai, and the woman there would dish up for the men, and a complete stranger or someone would dish up for me. I felt so bad. I was like, I'm a grown ass man, I can dish up for myself, you don't need to dish up for me. But I was like, I felt so guilty, and I said, no, thank you so much, no, I can dish. And then I know it was tradition, so my friend said, no, it's part of our culture, but I still felt guilty about it.
Because our culture, women, we dish up for the guy, we do all the chores in the house, being respectful. He does the dishes, he cooks for me. And sometimes I used to feel bad. I was like, no, please don't do it, I'll do it. I was like, no, it's fine. Now I just sit back and I relax. He does so much for me.
Soft life things, eh?
Yeah.
I always wanted to stand side by side with me. I never wanted to stand behind me in my shadows every server, because I see her as equal, Yes, I will have certain things that I do in the relationship as a man, and she does certain things as a woman. I still see her as an equal. I don't want her to feel like she's below me. Then one thing that I learned about the Xhosa culture that I love the most about, I don't know if it's specifically to a Xhosa culture, but I find that Xhosa people are big on family and community. It's very warm, and especially after getting more involved and getting to know a family more over the last like 2 to 3 years, and them accepting me more, it's a nice warm and welcome that they've kind of accepted me in almost like their adopted son, like I'm one of them now. And I never feel like I'm an outsider with them.
What I value the most about Russell is that he sees me. Like, I'll mention again, I'm very hard of hearing. He reads me like a book. Like, he can sense that I'm feeling tense, or I'm frustrated because it's too loud, or because like I'm panicking because I can't hear. he's there for me. Like, he holds my hand, he makes me feel calm. And like, if you noticed, if I didn't hear something, he's going to look at me and tell me. He's not impatient, he doesn't shout, he's very calm. Yeah.
When we were in Indonesia, in the city in Jakarta, like, it's buzzing, and it's like similar to what you see on TV, like in Thailand, with the scooters and everything around. And there was like a lot of traffic, and like I remember we were out at night, we were sightseeing, and then she got overwhelmed because even though she's a very sociable person, she doesn't like when there's too much noise because it overwhelms her. And I think that gives her anxiety. And she got overwhelmed with like all the traffic noise, and like I put her aside and like I got hold of like the taxi or the Uber, and we sat down, and I held her close and I said, it's going to be okay. I know you're hard of hearing, and sometimes you feel anxiety, or you feel guilty or bad, or nervous or anxious about, because like you can't hear people immediately 100% clear on that point. And I said, like, it sounds cliche, but I will be your backup ears for you,
Sorry.
And I said, like, I would always be there to like safeguard you and be there for you, so that because that's also why, like, before we started dating and we started to get to know each other, even though she's a very sociable person, as you can tell, like, she didn't used to go out a lot because she didn't like the anxieties that came with it of like in huge crowds, she can't hear people clearly and things like that. And she's all alone. So like she didn't used to do a lot of things or experience life a lot by herself. So we both now being together have experienced life a lot more. And I always said, like, I'll be her like pillar of strength and be there for her, and also be her ears for her, so that she doesn't have to feel alone. So that's been something that's always been important to me.
So for any person in a long distance relationship, whether if it's interracial or not, I'd say the best thing you could do is communicate. But don't leave things to guesswork. Be transparent, and also just love each other, because so many people, when they're in long distance, they get angry because they're so far apart, and then they misplace those feelings, and then they're angry towards their partner, and like, why didn't you text me? What are you doing? No, that stuff. Like, just be happy, live in the moment, and use this time to get to know each other more.
You need to have some good open communication and like one-to-one talks, with each other, where you're present, and to be clear about your intentions, both in the short term and the long term, because especially if you're going to long distance, it's going to ask a lot of you in terms of a commitment, and you need to both put in like a lot of work to like make it work, I think also like having those honest heart-to-heart talks, and from a guy herself as well, is like, especially for guys out there, don't be afraid to also like share with your missus or your other half of like your feelings or your insecurities as well. Remember, you're investing into this relationship, so it's not some fling or thing that you can go through 1 month of like happiness and know the feeling, and then you put it aside. It's something that requires like active ongoing work onto it, and you have to continuously like invest into it.